So is Amazon's greed becoming insatiable? Well, if the shoe fits. You know, there's a shoe company called Allbirds. They just sent a letter to Amazon over a look-alike sneaker that's being sold for less than half its price. And many are wondering if this is a case of capitalism gone wrong. Here to weigh in, Independent Women's Forum senior policy analyst Patrice Leon-Wilke. The company, they make these shoes. They're environmentally biodegradable. They're safe. They put a lot of work into them. They've got a major following, and they look on Amazon one day, and Amazon's got a very similar-looking shoe, Patrice. Smart business, or is it going too far?
I actually think it's smart business. Allbirds has designed a really great product, and so they have to expect they're going to have copycats. And so for them, the challenge is going to be, how do you compete on something other than price? Well, you compete on the quality of your product. You compete on, the sustainability, the environmental impact, and the story behind it. And I think they can find those customers willing to pay the $99 that people on Amazon are only going to pay $49 for.
Well, to your point, in fact, the CEO of Allbirds wrote a letter to Jeff Bezos. I'll read a part of it for the audience. It says, quote, "We are flattered at the similarities that your private label shoe shares with ours, but hope the commonalities would include these environmentally friendly materials as well. We want to give you the components that would make this shoe not just ours look like ours, but also match our approach to sustainability. We believe the most powerful business in the world, such as Amazon, should lead on these issues and will be rewarded for doing so." So they're sort of taking what you're saying. It's a little bit of like business judo, if you will, particularly when you're a pipsqueak and you're fighting the biggest company in the world. But this is where Amazon does draw a lot of criticism, though, Patrice. It's like, is there any fruit that's not low enough hanging for them? It's like, do they have to go after every crumb out there? And a lot of businesses are selling on Amazon, and then so you sell your product, and a couple of months later, they're selling a copycat.
Well, the advantage that Amazon has is that it has access to the spending habits and consumer behaviors of all of their members. So they can see what products are gaining traction, and then they can turn around and pretty quickly become sellers of that product. Some people will say, well, maybe is that some sort of monopolistic, position that they're in? I'm not sure about that, because I think you have in many situations where, particularly in retail, a celebrity like Kim Kardashian comes out with a really great design, and then 2 weeks later you've got a knockoff product coming on a smaller, cheaper, faster website. So you're going to see this. And what's interesting, though, Charles, about Allbirds is that this is not the first time they've called a company to mat for trying to knock off their shoes. I mean, they did this in 2017 and got a private settlement from Steve Madden. They've done it with a German company. So, I think it sounds a little bit like they think nobody should copy their shoes, but let's look at Tom's. Tom's shoes were copied many times over. 5 years ago, they were popular.
In that space. Nothing original in that space.
There's nothing. So if you can compete on a good story, you can win.
Let me ask you about another rivalry that's brewing here. Elon Musk now promising a tug-of-war rematch with Ford. That's after he posted a video. Now, it shows the new Ford Tesla, that Cybertruck, pulling an F-150. Now, it turns out, though, there was some deception here. The Ford this was not an all-wheel drive, and likely it had the low-end motor, the Ford, and also, if you can see, as they begin, the Tesla Cybertruck begins towing first, begins to tug first. So, listen, I think we're all building it up. Maybe it's a pay-per-view match somewhere down the line. But do you like these kind of stunts?
I mean, I think it's fun to watch. If this is the same truck, though, that they previewed last week, where he tried to throw a brick or something at the window and it shattered when the window was supposed to be shatter-proof, I think they're just trying to do everything that they can to prove that their products are living up to the standard and the name that they've suggested. For us as consumers, I think it's great. We get to see competition go against one another, and consumers will decide what they like, whether they want to go after Tesla or they want to stay with an American-made brand that's so ingrained in our culture.
Well, I'm going for the Super Chief if my wife ever lets me have one. I've been begging for 10 years. 1 year I'm going to get that truck. All right, Patrice, thank you very much.
Good to see you, Charles.